Hi everyone and welcome to Stamp with Angela. I'm excited to be here with you today for today's live. It's all right, just checking that things are all connected. So thank you for being here. Each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. New Zealand time, I come to you live to share some ideas, some inspiration to help you with your paper crafting, card making and stamping. So I know last week we had a few technical issues with sound. So anyone that's joining me, please let me know if we are okay with sound today. So thank you for being here. You may be watching this live, or maybe you're watching the recording later. You might be on Facebook or you might be on YouTube. So either way, or whatever platform you're on, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. So I enjoy my stamping, paper crafting, and I enjoy being able to share ideas and things with you too. So I appreciate you coming and being part of today's live. Now you may notice, if you've watched before, the camera here may look a little bit different. So I've actually got a new webcam. I noticed after the live that I did on Sunday night with Christy Coromandel, sharing about my story of being a Stampin' Up demonstrator and what's involved and all the perks and things of being a demonstrator, that unfortunately my camera was not that clear. For my lives, it's generally fine because a lot of the time you're seeing the desk and not much of me. But when you're looking at me for half an hour or so, I realized that the camera was not so good. So hopefully this is a little bit better. And yeah, a shame I didn't have it for Sunday, but we learn and improve. So I see a couple of people on live. Can you let me know that you can hear me okay? Let me know where you're from as well. That would be great to have you. It's great to have you here today. So with today's live, what I thought I would do is I'm going to share some ideas to help you create a background on your card using some pattern paper and scraps and things that you've got left to use. To give you an idea, and my plan was not to use the beautiful butterflies again, but in the end I did. So this is kind of like the third video using butterflies, but all in different ways. And if you don't have the butterflies, obviously you can use something else on your card, but yeah, I have used them. All right, so just looking for any comments and things. Hopefully you're hearing me okay. So with the beautiful butterflies, this is actually a set I didn't buy initially, but I did see it in Torsen Creations and thought, oh yeah, maybe I should get it. And it's actually that and the Delightful Floral Suite are probably the two main things I've used from the mini catalogue. And for Extravaganza, which is a big event in Auckland in March with other demonstrators, we're holding it on the shore. Our project is going to be using the beautiful butterflies. And so Sylvia and I work together on a project and do different aspects of preparing the kits and instructions and all that kind of thing. And she's been cutting the butterflies, and so it's much easier to do two at once than one. So she's got my set and has been cutting those, which is great. And then I realized, oh, I don't have, and I said to her yesterday, no, I don't need it. But then, of course, today I decided to use the butterflies. The good thing was I already had some pre-done. So those are the ones I'm using today for today's live. Anyway, lots of talking, so let's actually get onto some crafting and I'll show you what we're going to make today. So here is my crafting space. So you may recognize these papers. These are one of the Sale-A-Bration papers on offer. It's the Bloom Impressions paper. So it is quite bright and colourful, and there are more sheets, but obviously I've used some of them. Actually, I should probably show you that side. And then if you flip it over, you can see either sort of the ombre look or some color with a bit of white, so not quite as busy. So I got the paper because I thought it'd be great to use, but initially I thought, oh my goodness, it's quite bright, too busy, I don't know how I use it, but I've actually used it lots. So if you like this paper, there's just today and tomorrow left of Sale-A-Bration, and then this paper will be going. So get it while you can. So spend $125 and you get it for free. So today I've actually got my trimmer here, so I can show you cutting in a couple of tips with that, and I'll show you the cards that I have made. So the first one, I used this paper here, and I couldn't decide between the sides, so I've actually used both. And then for the second one, I've used this, excuse me, the Blackberry Bliss. And I've actually gone for more this particular side because I want you to see the butterfly. Now, I sort of had to use colors that worked with the butterflies that I had die cut. So this was the first one I did. Move it out of the way. So I have got some butterflies that were cut out of the bouquet paper. I'm not sure what is it. So this is a paper you can buy, and it's got that kind of look on it, which is sort of a technique. These are the different colors on one side. Oh, it should be, yeah. So that's all that pattern. And then this side, you've got like Fresh Freezer and Calypso Coral and Daffodil Delight, Balmy Blue. I think that must be Berry Burst. So that's what I've actually cut the butterflies out. So I had to work out what would work with that. So I've gone for the Melon Mumbo for the card base, and you'll see I've alternated the pattern. So sometimes I've used this side and sometimes I've used this. Now I've gone with one particular paper for the whole background. You could have thin strips and you might go with a mixture of patterns. Now I've got this idea from various things. I've seen some people having 5 pieces in the background, some more, and you can stagger it or make it nice and neat. This is how I've gone for it, and you can use this as a starting point and then change it up and make it work for you. The second card I did was this one in the Blackberry Bliss. So I find that quite a striking color. I probably wouldn't have gone for the basic gray body because I would have probably gone for Blackberry Bliss, but like I say, I don't have that die with me at the moment, so I had to go with what I had. And I've kind of changed up the order of the background, but it's quite a, just sort of subtle pattern with a bit of ombre, and then you can really notice the butterfly on the front. And then inside, because the butterfly was Balmy Blue, I've stamped it in Balmy Blue. And I did the same on this. And then the embellishments that I've used are these, the Itty Bitty Bouquet Mix, which are more like sequins, so they're not adhesive. So I put a drop of glue where I wanted it, and then I actually pick it up with this. So you can pick it up with the putty end of this. You have your dab of glue and you put it down and then lift up, and it will, obviously when there's glue there. So these are quite cool. So some of them are flat, and then some of them, you probably can't tell in the video, are actually, can I put it on white? Let's have a look. Where's a piece of white that I can use? Here. It is, whoops, it's rolling away. It is actually rounded, and that's upside down. Oh, it just doesn't want to cooperate. Why is it not being flat? Oh, maybe that one, let's have a look for another one. This one is flat. Maybe there's 2 stuck together. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually slightly raised. But they're not adhesive, so you do need to put glue down. But the putty end is great for picking that up. Anyway, let's get started and make the cards. Oh, good. Hi, Linda. Great to have you here. I'm assuming that you can hear me okay and everything like that. Yeah, I think that one looks quite striking. And because the paper's not quite so busy, you really notice the butterfly. I'm not sure if you can tell. One of them, probably hard in this light, I've actually added a bit of Winker Stella to the butterfly too. And in some lights, you definitely can see that as well. All right, so let's go through and make it so you can see what you need to do. Now, initially, I was going to have, so I'm going to do one in Calypso Coral this time. So like I say, I am dependent on the butterflies. So in these ones, I had contrasting colors. With this one, I'm going to have the contrasting paper. So I'm going for the yellow. So I feel that will stand out, or you could go for that, but I think the yellow looks quite striking against it. So that's what we're going to go for. Now so let me cut my strips and then I'll show you a situation that I had. So you can either have a piece, this measurement wise is 8 centimeters by 12, then cut into 2 centimeter strips. So I started cutting one and then I thought, oh, I'll show you what I do. So you could keep the pattern going. Which end did I cut it off? Can't quite tell it. There, I think. No, it doesn't quite match up. Maybe it's that way around. Doesn't have to match up, it can just be random. If you're cutting here, it's kind of hard to see. So what you can do, particularly if it's a wider piece, is line it up for narrow measurements. I need to come down a little bit, sorry. Is line up the 2 centimeters on this side, because then you can close it and cut and hold it in place. Line it up to the 2 centimeters and cut. So if I'm doing it this way, it's a bit harder to hold. So now, if you want metric measurements, I have included that in the description. Off the top of my head, it's something like 3/4 of an inch by, I don't remember the height, I'm sorry. Yeah, but it will be in the description. Now, I kind of, initially, I was going to adhere them straight on the card. But the problem with that was, if I started adhering and I tried to get the distance right, it might not be even at the side. See how there's a bigger gap this side and a narrow gap this side? So, I mean, I could sort of try, but I'm never quite sure how big a space and is it going to line up. So there's a couple of choices. You can do more of a random kind of look, and then it doesn't matter, like that sort of effect. You could even alternate some of them. So if you like the random kind of look, and I'll show you another card later, you know, like that, and then you put your butterfly on the top. Where is my butterfly? So that's fine. If you don't want to go for all fancy in measurements, then that's one way of doing it. But for me, I did want it nice and straight, so I'm going to adhere it to a piece that is the same color as the cardstock, and it's just a fraction wider. So this was 8 centimeters, this is 8.3, and I think it's about 13.3, but if anything, I'm just going to trim it at the end. Now, is the video going okay? Because it looks like it's a little bit stop-start on my side, so not quite sure what's going on with the... I seem to have frozen. That's no good. I have frozen. Why? Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to come back to this camera. All right, looked like I'd frozen, so I'm going to swap cameras and come back and see. It is not finding this camera for some reason. Ah, here we go. Can you see me? All right, can you hear me? It's not working with this camera. Why? Let's just come back to here again. All right, technology is great when it works, but when it freezes and things, it's not so good. So it should all... Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconnect that camera. So you'll have to bear with me for a second over here. And I'm going to... All right, are we working now? Okay. Stop, start. Okay, is it better now, Linda? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to recap a bit because I'm not quite sure how much was a bit stop, start. Okay, so what I was explaining was, so I've got my strips. I don't know if you saw me cut them, but when I cut them, because they're narrow, anything 1, 2, 3 centimeters, I line it up on the left side and then I cut it. It's much easier to hold it than trying to do it on this side. Okay, so I'm not quite sure if that was part of the video or not. So now I've got my pieces, and the problem I had was if I started, I've got a piece of here, let's move that out of the way. If I started gluing them down and tried to have an even space, how do I know that they're going to line up? Or you know, end to end, they're going to be nicely balanced. Okay, if I do that, see, that's not too bad actually, but it might not be even each side. So you could randomize it and maybe even turn some over and kind of angle it if you're into that kind of thing. That's one way of doing it, particularly if you just want to have the card base in a layer. That looks cool. Or what I've done is I'm mounting it on another piece and then I'm going to stick it on here. So these were 8 centimeters. This is 8.3. So just a little bit wider. So the question is, do I alternate or do I, that one looks wider. Let me just check that one is 2 centimeters. And it is a friction knot. Maybe that was the last one and I didn't measure the last one. There we go. Yeah, do we want the same or do we want to alternate? I'll show you both and you can tell me what you think. Oh yeah, it's working fine now. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had to come in and go out again. So this is the alternating. Obviously, it'll be more evenly spaced. Okay, with this on it. Or the same. So if it's the same, I'm not sure now. I was going to do the same, but now I'm thinking maybe different. Okay. Who's here and wants to comment? So pattern paper the same or alternating? That is the question. So I'll glue the first one down while I get a response from you guys. So we'll definitely go with the yellow on the first one and then we'll see what people like. Getting no answers here, so I might have to make a decision myself. Is there a right way up for this? Possible? No, that way. Some patterns matter, some don't. Okay. Any answers? No? Okay. This one I did alternating, but it was quite subtle. Same? Okay. Karen, you've answered. It's your way. We're doing it the same. Fair enough. Thank you. Appreciate your input. We are going for the same. You're the first one to answer, so all good. So I'm trying to have, ideally, the same space top and bottom and same space in between. Right, let's hope I can get this right. Now, I've mucked up the order of the papers, so the patterns aren't going to be, matching, but that's fine. And that one might even sort of be upside down, but that's all right. We're going to have a butterfly on the top, so all good. All right, so I appreciate everyone that is here today joining me live or watching the recording. It's fun to have you here. Oops, that one probably needs to come down a little bit. So the thing with glue I like is you can move it. You got to be fairly quick. Like you can't come back 20 seconds or even 20 minutes later. Maybe 20 seconds. You can adjust it slightly. Like so. And then our last one, I think maybe that way. All right. Oh, Linda says different. Sorry, Linda, you were too slow. Kay got it. No, who was it? Kay? Karen got in first. Maybe if I've got some yellow, I'll make another one. But the only thing is I don't have my dies to cut out another Calypso Coral butterfly. Okay. So what I'm going to do is trim that off now. So I'm going to kind of, the edge of the ruler is kind of going to be the edge of my DSP, hopefully. And that will give me a nice edge. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I like that. Now I could put it directly on the card like this, but it sort of gets a little bit lost. So I don't know if you notice, I put the white and it's just a very thin white, basically 3 mil. So this was 8.3, so I'm going to go 8.6. Now I know some of you work in inches. Sorry, like I've said, I've put some measurements for inches on the description of this, which you'll see afterwards. But you could probably just make it, I don't know, an 1/8 narrower perhaps. All right, then I've got to work out how much to cut off on this side. So originally I said 13.3. Well, we're probably, oh, this one's, I think I said make that 13.3. But what is it actually? So that's about 13. So yeah, this is, let me see. I would say that's 13. So let's make this 13.3. So who works in inches and who works in metric? All right, let's see how that looks. So it's just a very narrow border. I could possibly even take a smidget more off. Don't know if I'm going to be successful, but we'll try. I'm just going to clean that out. And just take, this is when my little guillotine thing is better for something like this, when it's a tiny bit, but we'll, just a tiny bit. Let's see. Hopefully I haven't made it too much now. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I like that. So it's just a little bit of white around it. Okay, I think that's it for my trimmer at the moment. And I'm going to glue that down. So you might decide you don't like the white. That's fine. You don't need to. Remember, with the glue, you just need a thin layer. All right, there we go. And then put that on the card front. So you could put it on with dimensionals if you want a bit of dimension to it. For mine, because I've already got, I'm going to have a few layers. I haven't. I'm just going to glue that down. If you wanted to, you could even stamp around the edge, but I'm happy with just a plain border. All right. And to put that on, is there a right way up? Have I been? Yeah, I think that way. I think once the butterfly's on, we're not going to actually know. So basically for this card, you are just using some strips. Now, like I say, I've gone with the same. You could do a combination of different ones. And then I'm going to put my butterfly. Now, if I had brought through my Winker Stella, which is in the room next door, I could have just added a bit of Winker Stella. You can even add it later. And that will make it sparkle a little bit. Then I need to stamp a sentiment. So sometimes the little offcuts that I have when cutting the paper like this, I'm just wanting, these ones I've just made thank yous. So I'm going to do Calypso Coral. Now, Calypso Coral wasn't actually one of those colours in that paper, but the yellows, it was more Daffodil Delight and Peach Pie. And because my butterfly is Calypso Coral, I've kind of added it. Well, I probably should have stamped it on my mat. You see some a little bit thicker than others, so let's bring in my mat. We'll do another one this end. That's better. Uh-oh. Have I frozen again? Can you see me? Oh, yep, you can. Why is the picture, is it just this may look a bit hard? Okay. Thought I'd frozen for a second. Okay. So what did I do? I did that end straight and angled this end. I'm just doing this now because I don't obviously want my butterfly to hang over it. So just working out the position. And I don't want my butterfly to hang over the edge or it won't go in the envelope. But obviously it can hang over the yellow bit too. So maybe we can go up a bit. There are also little butterflies. So you could add, these are all the ones that I have pre-cut earlier to have a play with. Some of them have got, so I could add a little one too if I wanted. So here it is with the blue. I kind of like odd numbers, but I'm not sure. I guess you could go with 2. So you cut the butterfly and then the body is added afterwards, like that. So here's the butterfly without the body. So you can kind of, I'll show you the difference. See the difference? So obviously it needs it, but these are the bits that I've got. All right. So would you like one big butterfly or a little one added? Let me know what you think. Now I'm only going to glue in the middle. Now if you don't like butterflies, I'm very sorry that the last few videos have all been including butterflies. Definitely got my money's worth with this set, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm only going to glue in the middle, then the kind of wings can come up a little bit like that. And then I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. well, I will use dimensionals if they are here. If they are not, because I keep going between the two rooms. This is where I'm filming, and then got my other stuff next door. I cannot see them. So what I might do is, for the moment, just to stick it down, I'm just going to put a dab of glue. Oh, actually, they're behind me. No. So I'm going to just put a dab of glue just to hold it in place. But this is where you'd put dimensionals. All right, and then I'll just place it later. So what do you reckon? Should we add the little one too, or is one enough? Now with these ones, like I said, because of the color with the blues and the purples, I used these, which are part of the suite with the, it's actually part of the whole thing. The butterflies, this paper, they're all part of this particular suite. Those colors aren't going to go quite so well, so I'm going to use these instead. So I used 5 on this just to fill in that space. So it depends, I guess, if I'm going to use the little butterfly or not. I'm thinking could always put the butterfly inside, I guess. All right, quick answers. Otherwise, we will move on. Do I include the butterfly, little butterfly, or keep it single? Okay. Let's grab 2 butterflies. Okay, Linda, since you didn't get different, we'll go with 2 butterflies. But effort from everybody here. Let's just sort of put it in that corner a bit more. Actually, I'm going to put it down. Oh, and we'll put a couple of, or maybe we'll put it up. Decisions, and I'll put my sparkles here. We'll go with 3 this time. I've got 5 over there. So we will go for a big and a little. So these are the iridescent faceted gems or something. I love the way they kind of sparkle, and they've got that sort of X pattern on them. Can you see? So obviously that is going to be raised. There we go. So a little bit different. So on the inside, I stamped. Now I use that color, so I'm just going to quickly stamp here too. So I think we're going to go for Calypso Coral. I'm just going to do 1 butterfly on the corner and 1 up here. Does that look weird for you guys on your screen because of the crisscross? Does it kind of hurt your eyes? Okay, there we go. And then we'll put that on the inside. And then you could add butterflies on your envelope, or you could even add some DSP to the envelope too, like the flat part. I haven't done that for a while, but that's quite a cool technique. All right, so there's our finished cards. So the idea is to use strips of DSP. So you may have a piece like I had, but smaller than this, and you cut them down, or maybe you've just got leftover strips. You can make it all sort of matching. You could make it alternating sides. You could use a variety of different papers and colors and things. Obviously, it depends on what you're putting on the front. You don't want it to look too busy. So just bear that in mind. You obviously don't have to use a butterfly. You might use a stamped image. You can even have a circle with something on the stamped circle. So then the paper's, in the background. So why not give it a try and see? So both Maureen and Linda suggested the 2 butterflies. So that's what I've done. So there you go. All right. So what I'd like to show you is another one kind of like this, but different. So instead of using the 6 pieces, I've used 5, and I made them a bit wider, so 2.5 centimeters. And I've gone for that sort of staggered-y look, not lined up. And I actually embossed the back. That's the Starburst embossing folder, which is available with Sale-A-Bration. And with it being white, it just looked too much. So I actually sponged it. This is peach pie this time. Sponged it and then stuck it down, and then used the DSP with the butterfly and things. So that's and then I've stamped on the inside. So you could use slightly less pieces and make them slightly wider, and do them like that. So that's kind of another way of doing it. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Now, if you've been watching over the last couple of weeks, you will see that I have done heaps with the butterfly. So let me do a quick recap. And I don't have all of them because I've given some away. but I started off with just some simple stamping, like petunia, whoops, too high, petunia pop and boho blue. So this one is just one, it's on white and then stuck down with dimensionals. This has obviously got an extra matted layer, but it's only stamping, so it uses the stamp set. And no other embellishments or anything like that. Did I do anything on the inside? I did. So I added layers on that one. This one, I haven't done anything. Okay, so kept it quite simple, but there's just the stamps. Then I stepped it up a little bit and used the stamps, but I've added some ribbon and I've added some embellishments. So we've got kind of simple stamping to then embellishments. And then that first week, I also did the baby wipe technique. So making my own ink pad, mixing of colors, and that's what we came out with. So that is it with just the stamping. And then, of course, you could do it with the ribbon and embellishments as well. Have I done anything on the inside? Oh, yeah, this one I did one on the inside. Okay, so that was all stamping, and that was just with the stamp set. Then last week, we used the dies, and we die cut. So same paper as I've used today. I used the Bloom Impressions, and I cut my butterfly from the piece behind and then put a emboss piece on the top. If you're not sure how to do it, then of course you can just watch the video and see. So there should be 3. Oh, that's right. There was a Blackberry Bliss one as well, but I've given that away. So yeah, so using the paper and some die cutting as well. And stamping inside. Whoops, I haven't yet. But you could stamp some butterflies inside. All right, and then of course today's one is using paper for our background and creating that way. So you can make it nice and symmetrical and nicely lined up, or you can go for the kind of, I don't know what you call that, but that look where it's sort of all over the place and things. So I hope you enjoyed those cards. So I'd challenge you, have a look and see what paper you've got in your stash that you can use as a background, and then find something you could put on the front. It might be a die cut. Like I said, you could even get a circle and just stamp it and put it on the front or something. So if you make something, I'd love you to share it with me. So if you're looking for those butterfly products, they are in our mini catalog. Whereabouts? I think so. Oh, here we go. So you can see the whole suite. You get stamps, the embossing folder, and the dies. And as I explained last week, the can go in the embossing folder and it can cut out. You get all these dies, which are very cool. I mean, I've only used this one. That's the photocopy of it. But there's other dies that you could use too. And those embellishment thingies that I had in the pot, wherever they've gone, make great shaker cards as well. See how they've done that? So that's cool. Now, to buy the bundle is $126, but remember that stamps, dies, and the embossing folder. You can buy the dies. Well, it's called an what is it called? An hybrid embossing folder. Hybrid, sorry, which means the dies and the embossing folder. And then you could choose something else around $32. And then with Sale-A-Bration, but only until tomorrow, you could get the stamp set for free. So you're getting to choose. You could get these papers. I mean, you could get this too, and then you could pay a little extra, and then that could be your free item for Sale-A-Bration, but that's only until Friday 28th of February. Obviously, buying them together, you do save a little bit, but if you can get the whole stamp set for free, I mean, that's awesome. So bear that in mind. So there's the usual Sale-A-Bration items that are in this brochure. Here's the paper I use, paper, stamps, all those kind of things, as well as the extra things that were added this month. There's the embossing folder with the stamp set. The die sets are both sold out, so you've got to get them quick. They've gone. But there are punches. There are other stamp set. There's a kit. So there's lots of other things. Look on the website. I'll try and share a link to the other things available for Sale-A-Bration. So just one last thing before we go. I want to show you the join up offer at the back of the Sale-A-Bration brochure. So if you'd like to sign up to become a demonstrator, is that clear for you, or is it a little bit funny? I can't quite tell. If you join up by tomorrow, Friday the 28th of February, obviously a starter kit is a great deal anyway. It costs $189, and normally you get $285 worth of products. During Sale-A-Bration, you've got two options. You can get this, which is 2 packs of Stampin' Right markers and a particular unique stamp set designed for colouring with it for free. As well as the other $285, you get to choose what you want and I can help you decide what you need to get if you're not sure. Maybe you're starting out, you need a stamp set and inks, cardstock, and a few basics. Maybe you've got some bits and you can choose some other things, so you can get those. Or option 2, maybe you've got markers, or you could then just choose an extra $57 in your kit. So that's a good deal. So when I joined up, there were no sales, and I mean, it was still a good deal back then, and I'm so glad I joined. But yeah, Sale-A-Bration makes it even better. All right, let's come back to me to finish off. So if you've got any questions, let me just move my there we go. If you've got any questions about today's cards, joining up, anything like that, please reach out and let me know. I'd love for you to join my team if you are interested. I've got demonstrators from all over New Zealand, and we connect via our group Facebook page and Zoom meetings, and hopefully there'll be times when we can actually meet in person. Like there's a Stamping Up event next month that I'll be going to in Australia, and so some of my team are coming to that. Not everyone can. When I started, I had young kids and I couldn't go to all the events and things. It wasn't till later on. So you can if you wish, but you don't have to. There's lots of opportunities out there. And it's not just getting the stamps and things as a cheaper price. It's the connection, that creative experience, being able to share with others. You may want to do classes. Great. You may not. That's okay too, as long as you meet your quarterly minimums. Now, if you want to know more, you can reach out to me or check out the video that Christy and I shared on Sunday night about the joining offer and that kind of thing. But I'm happy to answer any questions. I'd love for you to join my team. And you might join, you might give it a go and decide that it's not quite for you. There's no penalty. You don't have to pay anything back. If you can't keep it up, that's fine. You just stop putting orders in the demonstrator and go back to being a customer, and that's totally fine. But at least you gave it a go. Yeah, so it's a great deal. You get obviously things at a discount, see things early, have that connection with others. It's lots of fun. So thank you for being here today. I hope it didn't freeze too much during the middle there. Not quite sure what happened there. Hopefully you're liking this new camera, and other videos and things you'll be able to see me a bit more clearly. So thank you for your time today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you get updated with other videos and things. And I look forward to seeing you next